there's an gigantic tool in the arsenal that most people are not using, and it's called weight training.
Oh, yeah, of
For what
course.
for whatever reason, most people do not know that strength training, aka resistance training, aka lifting weights, increases insulin sensitivity. This is
Yes.
a major reason why men or women who lift weights can eat very differently and with very different results to those who don't. Like people are always surprised and shocked by how many carbs I eat, right?
Hmm.
People have this assumption that I hate doing low or no carb dieting. Like
Hmm.
I don't like it on any way. Like I eat tons of carbs, like hundreds and hundreds of grams a day, and I've done that for a long time, and I stay lean, and my blood sugar, in fact, my blood sugar is a little bit low, but it's largely because of my activity level and my weight training. A big problem is you have so many people in all these developed countries who are basically eating like bodybuilders and powerlifters, but they're not lifting.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well said.
Um, yeah, that's yeah, that seems to be pretty much what is happening.
No,
I
I
do have a
totally
question
agree.
about something you said. Okay, cool. I have a question about something you said just out of interest. Because I noticed a couple of times you mentioned opposition to calorie counting. I'm personally I'm a fan of calorie counting, particularly for people who have not done it before. Why are you opposed to it?
I'm opposed to it because I've just seen it fail so often, and I worry that it's focusing on the wrong metric. That while energy matters, if you are calorie counting, it's going to encourage you to fear fat. And that, I believe, is part of what's put us into the conundrum we find ourselves in. Part of what I think accounts for the explosion in obesity and metabolic disorders is, ironically, a fear of fat. That if you look at a percent of calories, our fat consumption has gone down in the past 50 or 60 years because of the kind of anti fat view. But dietary fat is totally inert when it comes to insulin. In other words, a person, there's no study that has done this, so I need to speculate, but I can speculate with some confidence. If someone were to eat 3,000 calories of butter, I doubt it would be, or 4,000 or 5,000, I doubt they could gain a single pound of fat on that because there would be no insulin effect. And so the body would increase its metabolic rate in the absence of an insulin spike, and it would be making ketones and uh, ejecting those ketones from the body, a way to reconcile thermodynamics. Because if insulin is low, you cannot store fat. So part of my opposition to calorie counting is that it encourages someone to avoid fat, which I do not agree with. Um, Fat is essential, and in fact, the less fat men in particular eat, the less manly they become, to sort of put it in a funny way. But when men avoid fat, especially saturated fat, testosterone levels drop, sperm quality
Mhm.
drops as well, and I mean, it literally makes men infertile. And that, I think,
Yep.
can explain part of what we see globally. There's a lot, of course, that goes into the reduction in fertility, a lot. But I think our fear of fat, especially animal fats, which contain saturated fats and cholesterol, I mean, good luck making sex hormones if you don't have enough cholesterol. All sex hormones are built on cholesterol. And so anyway, Zuby, there's a lot there, but part of my opposition to calorie counting
Yeah,
is
yeah, I
certainly
get it.
based on my view that it encourages a wrong focus. That I think there's certainly value in appreciating the composition of what you're eating. Um, and so in that sense, perhaps calorie counting can have some value. But if the person is trained to fear those calories, then I worry that it's going to just continue this fat phobic culture and this obsession with carbs because carbs have fewer calories, with a total
Okay, I get you.
ignorance
I get you.
of the hormonal or endocrine relevance there. So, maybe in an ideal world, there would be a new metric that, rather than focusing on calories, you we could look at the insulin index, or or a hybrid, because again, calories matter, but there has to be an insulin response to tell those calories to be stored as fat. I guess in the most ideal scenario, it would be some number that was an algorithmic sort of, here's the insulin effect of what you're about to eat, here's the calories that come with it, and together, here's the score that is going to let you understand how likely it is that you're going to store this. Like high carb, high fat, boy, you have the insulin response.
Bad combo.
Oh, that's a hell of a combo, but it's delicious, of course. But what's so interesting is, of course, that humans have no evidence of addiction to fat and protein. Unlike rodents, mice appear to have an addiction to fat that humans do not have. So we have to be careful with rodent evidence. But humans, if you look at the whole realm of the neurobiology of food addiction, it always comes back to one single macronutrient, which is carbohydrates. With or without fat, people will crave that or even indeed be addicted to it. That's why I think with calorie counting, it can just lead us down some faulty roads. Not that it doesn't have value, it can.
This episode is brought to you by Sambrosa, the best way to get your 8 hours of rest. If, like me, you sometimes struggle with nighttime restlessness and allergies, then Sambrosa Night Syrup could be a game changer for you. Sambrosa contains a natural base of 7 organic herbs, honey, and a small amount of antihistamine. It's effective and soothing with no harsh chemicals, no high fructose corn syrup, and no artificial flavors or dyes. I've been using Sambrosa for several months now, and I can personally vouch for its effectiveness when it comes to improving my quality of rest at night. I also love the fact that they're a family-owned company who share my values of faith, freedom, and integrity. My listeners can try Sambrosa today and get 10% off by going to sambrosa.com/Zuby10. That's SAMBROSA.com/Zuby10 for 10% off your order. Try Sambrosa today and wake up ready to embrace life's opportunities. Go to sambrosa.com/Zuby10 and try it out.